Good morning and welcome to our first home related video. So we're going to undertake a really big project this year and we're going to try and document every step of the way. So our end goal is to try and increase our house value by about 20% in the next 2 years. And how we're going to do that, we're going to do an extension basically. And this video is going to walk you through what our plans are. The reason why we have such a specific goal of increasing the value of our house is because in the next sort of 2 to 5 years, giving ourselves a bit of a buffer, in the next 2 to 5 years, Dave and I really want to do a self-build. In order to do that, we need a big pot of money, basically. And one of the ways that we are raising the money to do that is to make sure that the house that we're living in now will be sold eventually for the maximum amount that we can possibly receive. Yeah, this is going to be the first of many videos that are home related. So if this is of something of interest for you, whether that's home renovation stuff, talking about self-build and why we want to do it and all the kind of steps that we're taking to lead up to that moment, then make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to do a video roughly about once every couple of weeks, because we're going to be doing stuff around the house outside of the extension as well to make sure that our house is completed, because I don't know about anybody else, but our house has so many unfinished projects. The room that I'm even sitting in now is pretty unfinished. You can't see the whole of it right now, but I'll obviously show you guys later in the video. So yeah, subscribe, tune in, and I would love to get some more like-minded people subscribe and comment if you're on a similar journey. I'm going to take you on a quick tour of our downstairs just to explain what we're going to do in our kind of extension renovation project this year. That's going to be about 80% of the work that we do on the house, but we're obviously going to decorate the garden office. We need to finish the downstairs toilet, which we started, and yeah, just make sure everything's finished, because yeah, I'm going to show you in a second what I mean by that. So this is the entrance to our hallway. It's actually quite a decent size. This was one of the kind of unique selling points of the house when we first bought it back in 2019, is that it's so big. And there's actually no complaints here. We actually like the size of the hallway. But if I go and start in the living room, so this is the living room at the moment. And one of the key things that we're going to change with the new extension is these patio doors will be changed to a window. And the reason being is with a dog, as you can imagine, a dog running in at full pelt from the patio into our home, especially on rainy days, can be a bit of a nightmare. That's this little toy box back there, toy basket. Yeah, it can be a bit of a nightmare on the floors all the time, and making sure the sofas are always with clean blankets is actually quite an annoyance for me. So that will make a big difference. So having a window there instead, we can actually have another sofa as well. So it increases the amount of space that we'll have in here. We can actually have a nice rug, because we used to have a really nice rug, but that got really muddy and we found it really hard to clean. So we've got this really cheap, quite frankly, cheap rug as a short-term fix. And yeah, really excited for that, because we've actually been wanting to paint the room as well. So basically make sure that the green's sort of taken around the whole room. So that's what I mean by things aren't 100% finished. Because when you look at it from this angle, it probably does look finished, but deep down we know that we want some more changes. So that is our living room. So the storage cupboard here, I'm not going to open it because it is definitely our Monica cupboard. It's basically where we store everything, and from shoes to Milo's food to little baskets with Milo's kind of leads and things in there, some cleaning products as well. It's a bit of an everything room. So we're actually going to remove this door. We're going to block it up with the extension, and then we'll probably have hooks all along, that sort of L-shaped kind of hooks, and probably like a little seating bench there as well, because I think that will just make the space a bit more usable. And then going into the kitchen, so straight away you can see what one of my very key pet peeves are. This bin. We just don't have the right space at the moment for us. So this is where the biggest change will be. So our kitchen will hopefully be a lot bigger than this. So the extension's going to go out this way and also out to the right hand side. So if you can try and envisage that, the extension will essentially on the outside come up to this wall. And it should give us enough space for a bigger kitchen and a bigger sort of dining space as well. So if you imagine kind of like an L shape, so if it goes around, the patio doors will then be on the new extension rather than our living room. And it will also give us a bit more space behind the stairs for a mini utility. So that's gonna increase the footprint pretty substantially. We're doing this all within our permitted developments. And yeah, and this is the other side of the kitchen. I'm just going to close the door because this didn't used to look like this. Our wall previously went all the way up to the window there. So our dining space was actually a lot smaller than this time last year. We had this work done in October 2024. Still not finished, as you can see. There's still like patches on the wall. It needs a repaint basically. And do we regret doing that bit of work? Yes, because if we had done it with the extension, if we had moved this wall later, it just would have saved us a bit more money. This dining room, we are going to put a door, maybe a couple of, glass doors, and basically create a wall and close it off, and that will be my office. So I think that will actually increase the value of this house because it goes from a 3-bed to a 3-bed with 2 offices, because we've obviously built the garden office as well. But I think it will allow flexibility, right? So if it's not a study, it can probably be a snug, or it can probably be a playroom for whoever's going to kind of live in this house. So that is our plan. So it's not like a huge, it's not a huge change. We're not adding loads and loads of rooms, but I think in terms of us living in this space, it's going to make a huge, huge difference. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what we're going to do. It's not like a huge amount of work that we're taking on. We're not like building a basement. We're not adding multiple bedrooms. But I think with the bigger living space, I think the sellability of this house will improve. We are aware that our kitchen living space isn't huge. I actually think our living room's a decent size for a small family, but the kitchen diner is really tricky. Kitchen dining space is actually a bit too small for us to live in. So I think that's the key thing here. We're not only just adding value to the house, we're also making it so that we can also live our lives here quite easily. Because most of the time when we're like, oh, I really want to move, it's because of this space. It's when we have loads of family around and it's really hard to actually be able to cook, have everyone sat around the table. So my family alone, if everyone's here, we're a table of 7. So we only have a 6-person table. So yeah, I think having the extra space is going to make a huge difference to our lives without having to move. And I think that's key because we were going to move, and the thought of moving to a house that's not going to be off a river home, it almost felt pointless because all the houses that we were looking at didn't meet the expectations of where we are living now from a like location perspective, but also a size and garden perspective, because our house isn't huge, but it's enough for us right now. And I would rather stay here for a bit longer than move and then have to move again once we do end up doing our self-build. So that's our thought process. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys as well. Why do we want to do a self-build, I hear you ask? So there's two main reasons why. Reason one being the fact that the area that we live in now, where we want to stay, is very desirable. It is a very expensive area as well. I would say it's kind of akin to London prices, if not even more expensive. So for us to be able to find a house that is to our taste and to, you know, what we want our forever home to look like, we would need a lot of money. And just to kind of give you a ballpark figure of how much money we would need kind of 2.5 to 3 million to be able to get that kind of house here. That's the challenge we have, right? We want to stay in the area that we're in now. We are completely priced out. If we were to get something like that, we would be saving for decades and decades. So that is why, a huge reason why we want to self-build, because we could do exactly that. So get, you know, a bit of land in the area that we want and build the house that we would love for a fraction of that 2.5, 3 million. Second reason is I've always been obsessed with building a home. I don't know where it's come from. I think I've just had a really like strong interest in homes and interior design and just things like that. And growing up, used to watch Grand Designs, all the home shows that you could think of, and I've just been obsessed with it. I would say since early 20s, and that has always been at the back of my mind in terms of the end goal that I wanted to kind of, you know, strive towards. You know, that's the reason why I, you know, try and maximize my income and so on and so forth, is so that we can build our forever home. And I'm very lucky to have met Dave, because he's also on board for that dream. And yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting journey, and I feel like we're almost at the like touching distance of getting there, which is why I wanted to start this series really, and to be able to kind of share what our journey is going to be like, some of the stuff that we've actually already done in preparation of that eventual, you know, buying plot of land, etc. And yeah, I just wanted to document it because there's not much out there. So if you go on YouTube and you go, you know, search for self-build stuff, most of the time it's not in the UK. Most of the time it's videos from a slightly older demographic who are able to kind of afford that. And yeah, I feel like there's a bit of a gap. So that's why I wanted to start this series. It's going to be exciting. So subscribe, follow us. Yeah, hopefully you find this series useful.